Hey, welcome back to part 2, Calling All Healers. Answering the question today, what is the contrast showing up in the world for us? And what is the mission of our spiritual practices? Stay listening and enjoy. So the question is, what is showing up for me for contrast in the world today? And I think what upsets me is seeing people blaming others and judging others and not really standing behind somebody in a really compassionate and caring way. There's so many opportunities to be compassionate, even when you're judging somebody for doing something wrong. I think the remedy could be as simple as just taking complete responsibility for your part in it and for your frustration to it, and doing something the opposite of that, right? Would be to be more kind and more giving and more caring, especially to the person that maybe you're even in contrast with. So what does the world need? More compassion. Lots more.
I do remember the days when it was safe for everyone to drink out of their tap, and the water was delicious, and it was healthy, and it wasn't contaminated. And we've just normalized pollution. Everything that's happening that's causing our planet to be on the way to being unlivable are things that we can impact and things that we can change. So that's probably my hugest conflict and frustration with the world right now. I will add a secondary part to it, because I think it's part of the same problem is the judgments that are happening and the conflicts between humanity. When we start judging each other and blaming each other, then no one takes personal responsibility. We can blame entire races of people for our problems and for our fears and for the calamities of the world. But all of that is just an excuse, and it's not getting to the real issue, which is every single one of us makes a contribution, and every single one of us can make a good contribution. So, and I'm hoping that at some point, that humanity, people one at a time, slowly make the shift. I think it's happening, and I hope it's happening, and I'm setting my intentions for that to happen.
In our world today, and in my experience, one thing that has been contrasting that shows up is many people have high expectations and place very strong judgment of themselves, or tend to overanalyze or want to be perfect. And that perfection and underlying judgment of not being good enough as you are leads to so much stress and anxiety amongst our culture. And I feel that is one area that as a collective we can continue to heal and shift, releasing the need to judge, be perfect, or hold high expectations that then can bring us down. So it all comes down to love, acceptance, and understanding of yourself and others, because we're all in this together, and as we heal, we rise together.
Third question is what's showing up in contrast in the world for me, and a lot of that is awareness, and people not being aware of what's really traumatizing them or not making them feel well. A lot of that is letting go of the past and letting go of things that happened to you. So part of my practice and my modality is offering meditation and ways to see things in a different light. Those traumas and those things that happen to you and those things that you're not letting go of are actually building up in your cells and becoming part of you. They become your personality, and they become your almost your mission in life, because you don't know any other thing different. You just know that those are things that are within you, and they've built you to who you are now. So meditation and becoming clear and practicing mindfulness actually allow yourself to change those cells and those thoughts in your mind. They bring more positive energy and ways to really let go and just let those cells just clear out and become totally different, what we call mindfulness spaces, which allows you to become clear in what you want to do, become clear in your mission, and really just open up space to love everyone else, just like we talked about in our mission statement.
Contrast shows up in so many places, but in my practice, I would say that the biggest problem is people overthinking. Because when we're overthinking, we block that connection to our intuition. There's no motor connected to the thoughts in our head, so they can only be proven over time. So it's somewhere that, okay, you've got a thought, but is it really true? So that's something that we really, really need to work on. The magic happens when we connect with the higher force, to let go and allow. The other contrast that I'm seeing is all of this political ridiculousness. It is causing so much chaos, and our focus we need to get our attention away from that. We're very conditioned as human beings to think that watching the news that we're getting the truth, but we're not.
So what is showing up in contrast in the world for me? Well, I feel that what's showing up is for other people in this contrast that I'm finding, they're coming to me and asking me these questions, is there's a little bit of impatience and there's an underlying anxiety with what's been going on outside in the world. And I think that this is because the media portrays such an unbalanced view of what's taking place in the world. Yes, there's been things going on with climate change and unrest, but the more we can be led and guided by our true nature, by that love that exists within us, with that positivity, and with that coming together and sharing with others, then we find a more common goal that people want to live in a peaceful world. They want to live in a world of greater happiness and togetherness and greater oneness. And to me, that is what's underlying the contrast, but it's a good thing, because it's helping us to aim for a greater understanding in our lives, to live life more naturally and more in alignment with the laws of the universe, the laws of nature. And this is what can create this beautiful planet to exist in even greater harmony for us all.
I think the biggest contrast in the world that's showing up for me right now is really about indifference. And I struggle when I watch people, whether it's strangers or people that I love, choosing a lower vibration or a negative feeling thought over the better feeling thought, or over somebody else's feelings, whether that's a comment on Facebook that was completely unnecessary, that doesn't do anything but bring the communal vibration down, or it's in a relationship or a friendship where the person is choosing their anger and the misunderstanding and holding on to that rather than being focused on the solution and clearing up the miscommunication. So the biggest contrast that I'm struggling with right now is that's showing up in the world is indifference. And also when it comes to the treatment of animals and the treatment of this planet, it's challenging to stay in your gratitude and to stay focused and to continue to make the bigger choice or the healthier choice, because I believe that we are addicted to suffering and pain in a lot of ways, and it's something that we've wrapped our identity in a lot of circumstances, and so it's just natural to lean into that. And so the contrast of the contrast would be leaning into love. So that's my hope in all of the contrast that we're experiencing, is that, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if indifference is the contrast I'm struggling with, then that just means there's a balance coming of everyone leaning more into love, which is so beautiful. So you can't really be that upset about the contrast, because it shows you what you don't want. You can make room for what you do want instead. So I don't know. I'm never really upset about contrast. I think I've had enough of it to have acceptance and understanding about it now in a way that I appreciate the contrast. But not all the time. I mean, who likes it really? That sounds good. It sounds good to say, oh, contrast, delicious. But is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm full of it. Maybe I'm just trying to sound like I have it together. But that's my take on contrast.
The next question is, what is the mission of my practice? The mission of my work truly is to make this information accessible to everybody, so more people, a lot more people than I currently have, okay? To teach people how to be intuitive and connect to higher self, and bring all these beautiful spiritual modalities to as many people as I can. Give them a taste and a touch so that they can experience it. So making spirituality accessible, that's my mission for my practice.
Yes. My personal mission is honestly to just be as authentic as possible. And I think I have to recognize for myself that being authentic is something that changes, because we all have so many things that are buried inside of us, and we have so many layers of self-protection that we've put around ourselves, from our wounds, from our fears, that the only way this authenticity can be fully expressed is in little bits at a time, because I don't think we're really aware of it. I think we start becoming aware of these little layers of societal programming, of judgments that people place on us and how we react to those judgments subconsciously. And all these things are so buried in the subconscious that we can talk about authenticity all day long, but there's no way we can all just jump into the absolute root of who we are, because there's just so many layers of stuff in order to find who we really are, because we are in there somewhere, but we're not going to be able to find it unless we make the choice to do the work. And for me, that's just a choice that I've personally made, that I am learning to embrace the uniqueness of me. I'm learning that if I don't follow along with universal mind as far as society goes right now, that doesn't make me an oddball. It makes me beautifully unique, and it makes me this beautiful, unique part of what the infinite is. We place a lot of labels on ourselves about being different or having flaws. My journey is about, and will probably be about for a while, is to not just embrace my imperfections, but to acknowledge that imperfections themselves are actually illusions. Because imperfections themselves are, once again, they're judgments that are self-created within ourselves. Judgments really are just a mirror of the insecurities that we feel about ourselves, that we see in others. And we're afraid to see and unbury those fears that we have about ourselves and those insecurities that we have about ourselves. So the only way that we can understand the judgments that we have and why we look at life as a group of success or failures, or perfection versus imperfection, is simply because we have self-created this judgment system, which doesn't exist. So once I can get over that in myself, or get clearer on that in myself, I'm hoping that I know that other people are doing this work as well, and I can just only hope that the more I express that and feel that and work on that within my own self, that it will help inspire others to see that same thing, to see that our imperfections are what make us beautiful and they're not imperfections, and to recognize that our failures aren't failures, they're just part of the journey.
My mission in my practice and also in my life is to let others know that they are supported, that they are always guided and led, and that we were made for more. So to dream infinitely and to explore and discover as we evolve, and to know that through that journey of continuously evolving and exploring into more, we then allow ourselves to become more. And at the core of who we are is love and light, I believe. And part of my mission is to bring out and expand that love and light in others.
Question number 4 is the mission of our spiritual practice. And for me, it's based on Galatians 6:7, which is what each man sows, each man will reap. And I believe that what I'm putting out there, obviously I will get in return. So one, that's how I built my spiritual practices, because I was needing something to place inside of me to get through some trauma, to love myself more, and to really just be open to anything that could make myself more purposeful in this world. So when I am placing all the energy in getting a session ready, I really am placing that protection and that love inside myself, because I'm giving that back out.
Well, I believe that my mission is to connect people with the truth of who they are, because we are so conditioned. We're raised by mom and dad. They've pretty much defined a picture to us about who we are. When I look at your human design and your numerology, that can be completely off course, because the truth of who you are shows up in these aspects of your chart. Yet, the question is, what do you believe about yourself? So we dig into that.
And so leading on to the question, what is the mission for my spiritual practice? I would say it's to help people make a reconnection to their sacred self, to that authenticity, to be really in alignment with who they are and embracing every part of themselves. You know, reminding yourselves that we are all multi-dimensional beings, and that we all have that energy, that wisdom, that infinite love that resides within us. And the more we can make time to be quiet, to accept ourselves completely, to truly be who we are, then the stronger individuals we each become, leading to that sense of greater community and encouraging and empowering one another. That is really my mission, to make this world that loving place that we know it can be.
My mission for my spiritual practice has been, and I believe will always be, to empower people with the tools that they need in order to love themselves and the world around them fully. To tap into not only your soul's purpose, but to tap into that unconditional love that'll just breathe life into you any time that you're struggling. My mission isn't to heal people and to be a healer and to be all powerful. That's not what this is about. It's just, I've walked a path of discernment that led me to lots of tools and lots of things because I had so much to learn. And now I just want to be able to take that tool and put it in my client's tool belt or my friends or a stranger on the bus or whoever it is. Never ridden the bus in my life. A stranger in the grocery store, that's not true. I've ridden a bus. But anyway, that doesn't matter. The point is that I just want to help empower that person to heal themselves, because that's what we're doing. That's what it's all about. It's just about offering a fresh idea, offering a new way, a new perspective, a new perception.